Welcome back. Before we end up talking about that game really quickly, congratulations to all of you at home who topped your fantasy leagues in Fantasy LCS on Sleeper. For those of you who didn't make it to the winner's circle, come back next split for another shot of redemption. And TSM,
we're all winners here.
Redemption. After what was a game that I had no idea who was going to win.
Look at Revan. I don't think I've ever seen him smile this much. It's just like he's permanently happy. This is incredible.
Just like, great job, guys.
Revan won this game.
What is he saying right now?
I don't know, but
he's like, guys, just go out there and do whatever you want. You guys don't, I don't know.
Those coach shots in between the like during the game, he was so stressed.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they should have lost.
Multiple times.
There were so many moments in this game where their Nexus was open.
Yep.
Rich and Jensen had backdoor angles, but they found their way around all of it in high-pressure moments to sneak a win.
Yeah, and here's kind of the setup for that fight and the base defense, I guess you'd call it, coming out, the initial base defense.
Oh my God, I for sure thought it was gonna end here.
Yeah, well, this was the final one, right? This is where Rich recalls.
Yeah.
He is able to shut down WildTurtle, can't quite kill Insanity, but then he, like, this is one I'm interested to watch back. I feel like if Dig just clears the waves, it doesn't present TSM the opportunity to make the return. So he delays the recall as long as possible. Look at this bottom wave that just gets to stack up.
Yeah.
And then everyone hits the TP. Like, this part was a really savvy call by TSM, actually, to see when they can actually lethal the Nexus and take advantage. And then beautiful charm. Insanity had an incredible game.
Yeah, he was dragging his team for sure, because I mean, every time Insanity would make an insane play or a team fight, someone on his team would do something really silly.
That's why I was wondering who was more stressed between, God. I thought I heard something.
Okay, one more. Oh my God.
They're not even excited. They're like, oh my God, we gotta do one more.
Skin and teeth.
Oh, that's hilarious.
That's great.
That's the stress.
What a nice looking gold graph there.
It would have been a really sad gold graph, obviously, if Dignitas had won based off of the few mistakes at the end of the game. But that was wild to see.
I can't believe Rich did 53 damage because he wasn't doing any damage.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Yeah, just like constant, because I'm not sure if I believe in the LeBlanc top.
I mean, he almost did it, but the fact that he did that much and it still wasn't what you needed, like in team fights, is just so ineffective.
Yeah.
You're right, his team failed him.
It's only good in these random chaotic situations. But
Yeah,
I mean, I
outside
actually
of
don't like the long top either.
Outside of some like few mistakes, I thought he played like fine. To be honest,
He did.
Both teams just had so much opportunity to win the game. It was kind of a battle of who wanted to lose more.
The most frustrating part about this was, yes, Insanity had an insane game, 25 stack Magi's, like I think he was 8-0-9 at a certain level in which he was playing through bot lane, thumbs up, like basically trying to pull someone like Jace towards the side lane and just then make his 4 strong in mid lane. But then they would make a mistake. He would then group from that point forward, it feels like. So it just felt like, I wonder what's going to be the adaptation going into game 5, that he couldn't touch a side lane past that point. That was my fear.
And the super curious thing, as we pull up some stats from both Jensen and Insanity, because I think they've both been instrumental in their team's wins, right?
In their wins.
This is the 2 of these mid laners in each of the 2 wins that their teams have received in this series. If you look at, like, it's actually surprisingly even, except for the gold difference at 14, which I'm assuming is from that Ziggs Trist game.
That one definitely
where he was on the
boosted
Trist,
This is cool to see. I mean, just Insanity coming into TSM, really revitalizing what seemed to be a dead split for them, and then Jensen making another run for Worlds, trying to make it his 9th in a row. And remember, this is an elimination game.
Yes.
It's now a best-of-1 elimination game, so either Jensen doesn't go to Worlds, or there's a chance we never see TSM again. Those are the only 2 possible outcomes.
Don't make me sad, Jack. What are you trying to do?
You're already preemptively making me sad.
This is the last time Jensen was in the Worlds, 2014. Look at what the world was doing.
Yeah, and you may notice a slight change from the graphic we flew at the beginning, where it said that TSM handed Samsung White their only Worlds loss. That was not true. Starhorn World Club also took a game off of Samsung White in the finals, so the 7-1, I did not realize that also came in 2014. That's become a weird League of Legends meme whenever it's 7-1.
Yeah, it's a weird any literally anything that involves a Brazilian team.
Scorekeeping and a Brazilian team,
2014 was a good year. But
yes.
we got now Game 5, loser gets to select sides. So Dignitas selects blue.
Okay.
And Solo.
Yeah.
As the guest. What's going to happen?
You know, I really think after seeing these few games, I think it really is just how much can Insanity carry. Because right now, like, every time TSM's had, you know, a game they're doing well in, it's just all behind him. Like, he's coming in clutch in the team fights. He's playing lane really well. So I'm feeling like they've kind of figured out the strategy by banning the Tristana, making him play Jace, playing something into Jace. I'm really feeling good about TSM being able to, like, get an advantage through mid.
And I like what you're saying because it matches up with what we're seeing on screen, where it's basically just Santorin, Jensen, and Enetron seemingly going through draft scenarios to figure out what works mid-jungle.
Yeah, I think
if they can lock down the mid-jungle, they have a really good game. In the game where they had the Trist Sejuani mid and picked up the early kill on Insanity, it was an easy win. And obviously last game, Insanity had 25 stacked Magi Xayah.
Yeah. TSM's not going to be happy that they're getting Game 5 into Game 5, and it feels like the first series that they had versus Evil Geniuses, the lesson that I took away from it in Game 1, where they took that one win versus EG, was off of a counter-pick Lucian, where once again you put resources into Insanity and Bugi, since I do think they play well together. More often than not, when you give power into Insanity, that might just be the ticket here. I'm interested to see what the first pick is going to be for Dignitas. If it's LeBlanc again, I doubt it. But it's a hard conversation to have.
Yeah, the way they're talking about it, I almost feel like they're not going to pick LeBlanc.
Yeah.
Because, like, I think if it was easy, or if Jensen wanted to be LeBlanc, it'd be like they're going to just do the same draft.
Yeah.
We first pick LeBlanc, I'll play LeBlanc, I'll play well this game. But the fact they're talking about his draft so much, I feel like they're either going to ban it or they're just going to leave it up and play into it.
Yeah. I also feel like TSM, as we've talked about, are kind of happy being on red side anyway. Like, it's another one of those weird series that we're watching, which we've seen a few times in playoffs now, more specifically, I think, with the EG TSM series as well, where each team is getting a side that they do feel comfortable with in the draft. Regardless of what we've thought about their drafts, they feel comfortable with them, which is the important thing. Let's go around. Have any of you flopped, or did you all flop to Dig now?
I'll still go Dig because I think Jensen's going to clutch up when it matters most. That last game was incredibly close.
Did you run into him again in the hallway?
Yeah, give us the deets.
I didn't want to distract him. He's in flow state right now. I can't break out of it.
And I have no reason to change my prediction, so I'm sticking with TSM.
Wait, you flopped on the last one.
I don't remember that. I don't remember that at all.
You're sticking with TSM? I always stick with my predictions, so I'm boring.
Same.
Yeah, I saw Insanity, and I said, don't worry, I'm still picking you. And he said, who are you?
And with that, we'll toss it to casters.
Insanity's locked in. He's like, I don't recognize you. I got the blinders on.
Yep.
Random guy in the hallway. Who are you?
I love it. Honestly, he was locked in that game too.
Yes.
You could see the stacks on the Magi's fully stacked the entire time, even with teammates throwing the game at points. Some possible tilt moments. Don't care. Who are you?
This is why he has been so transformative to this TSM roster, and you saw how they looked when he wasn't there. Not that he wins every single game, but when TSM win, it's almost always with Insanity, playing well. Obviously, you have to give some credit to Bugi as well for setting up a lot of the things that got Insanity ahead, but then he did carry in the end.
Has definitely been those two players in the majority of the scenarios. All right, let's see. Will they keep the Tristana ban to try and break up the combo? Rel and Rumble remaining on the board. The Ivern Aatrox have been permabanned by TSM, keeping those the same.
Renekton not banned yet, which I think Dig had done all 3 times on, or all 4 times, excuse me, this series. So looks like this might be a first pick slam Renekton. Or do you give it to Hauntzer and you have the Quinn?
Oh, true. I did buy a Dignitas jersey because of the Quinn, because I thought there was no way that he's going to carry. And I'll buy a jersey if he carries and does some work, but he did pop off. But I don't know if we'll see that here. I know that Renekton in general has been a talking point, but specifically for Hauntzer because of how much of the regular season he did play on the pick. Instead, it is Rakan getting locked in first for Dignitas. So Poome will have that support that has been so contested by both of these support players.
So they could easily grab the Xayah also and get the duo for themselves. TSM knew that in their first 2 picks, but I like immediately getting Bugi back on the Sejuani. He does so much as far as the playmaking for the team. So many engages, so many picks for them. Even though they know they're giving up possible Xayah, Maokai.
Yeah, I think it would be very smart to grab the Xayah here. So powerful with the Rakan. And Tomo has had decent games. There's a couple times where he gets caught out of position at the start of fights and gets exploded, but if he's able to actually get his DPS out, he does a very good job of actually pumping that damage out. Sometimes looks for big plays. We've seen him on Kai'Sa before go flying in that last game, that flash on the turtle, buying them time in the game.
Dude, that should have been game winning.
It should have been.
That should have been. Oh, we're gonna get.
You're tilted for him. It's okay.
I was tilted for him for sure. But there they go. They do lock in the Xayah Maokai.
Yep. Good to see that combination come through. This does mean that we'll see what happens with the Jace. It's something that had been first rotationed, I believe, or first phased every game so far in this series. So might get banned out here, and we might start seeing some different mid picks, given the fact that the Tristana has already gotten rid of as well.
And Sett locked in here for TSM, so a return for Chime, as this pick has been coming in more and more within playoffs specifically. And now going through the rest of the banning phase, we still don't know the top lane pick for Dignitas, so TSM taking out some of the ones we have seen from Rich in the past, and there's the Renekton for TSM, no longer an option.
And I think because TSM would like to have Hauntzer on a tank, they're banning away the Alawi, expecting the Cassante as well to be up there. So they're banning away some of these carry tops that Rich has used into tanks. And if the data for this split is to be believed, Hauntzer is looking towards the Ornn. I personally, even though I didn't bring out this split, he has had so much more success on the Scion. And we just have not seen Scion in so long. It actually pairs pretty well.
Yeah, there's a lot of potential options. It's a very interesting position.
Malphite
right now.
is still up. He loves the Malphite.
I was going to say Malphite. Technically, you can grab the Cassante yourself. That's what they end up doing. I do like that angle quite a bit. The question is, if you don't grab that, the Jace will probably go over to Dignitas if they want to grab it here, and then they can decide what to do with it. And that does give counterpick most likely to either decide if you're flexing the Kai'Sa mid or if you're actually going to slam a different mid laner. Very interesting position. And Jensen going back to old, reliable, tried and true, front to back team fighting. Give me the Azir.
Azir is one of those picks that most mid laners that have been around for quite some time can pilot, but Jensen particularly should be feeling very comfortable on the Azir and thus very empowered in the team fighting to come.
Second most all-time played champion for him, 65 games across his career. Only a 53% win rate. Not quite as dominant as his Orianna and other champions.
I mean, his Orianna is massive dominance, though. Most played champ and over 70%.
Whoa!
It's hard to match.
Insanity with the counter pick.
Finally!
Xerath.
Yes! Finally! We actually I actually talked to him and to Palfox both about this pick specifically, and especially into the Azir. Azir, always, through the history of this champion, weakness of poke. And Xerath right now, this is with the changes to the Xerath ultimates, getting more ultimate shots and then having the increase on the successive damage hits. Plus you have the Kai'Sa who can go snipe Kai'Sa build. So much poke damage here. The only drawback to this Xerath is getting ganked and getting Azir swept. So that may seem like a big weakness to some people.
It's a pretty big weakness when you're into Rakan and Maokai in the late game. If you're not well positioned on this Xerath, you are...
But it's so fun to play. You smash the minion waves. You push so effortlessly. Your wave clear is insane. Your poke is insane. This is if people didn't come gank you, it'd all be good.
Yeah, if this was just 1v1, I would have crapped on you, bro. I will say it's a very risky pick to pull out in elimination match, game 5, basically saying I am going to play well enough in lane to make this pick worth it, and you will not kill me at the start of team fights. You are so immobile. You are the living embodiment of artillery mage, and if they find flanks onto him, either it's Rich or whoever gets on top, they can kill him. So this is kind of the Insanity show.
Look alive for game number 5. Woo! 1 team is definitely going home at the end of this game. What a scrap it has been to get here, especially considering game number 4 went 45 minutes. But I do love that there is no attempt at going safe in the draft this time around. Insanity bringing out one of the picks that was recently touched on 13.14. Kobe, I know you seemed very excited about it. These changes specifically trying to empower him more in mid, even though Xerath has been around in support for quite some time.
Yeah, absolutely incredible. The other side of this that we didn't get to touch on because it was so quickly slammed is the Gwen for Rich. They banned out a couple of the counter picks that can slam tanks, but they did let this one through. Does force a lot of magic damage up on the top side of the map. So very easy itemization for Hauntzer and Bugi, but it is a champion that can 1v9 if she can get ahead.
I love Vulcan, always the memer. Can't keep him down. Tropical vacation sounds pretty nice right about now. Nope, moving on in playoffs sounds even better. Jensen continuing his world streak sounds even better. So both these two teams, obvious elimination match as we are in the last game of this elimination series of playoffs here. And we got some spicy counter picks. Yeah, the Gwen counter pick into K'Sante. We've seen that before, okay?
I'm not saying it's spicy, I'm saying it might be relevant.
K'Sante players have adapted. They buy an early no magic mantle, boom, there's your adaptation. Don't rush the Iceborne Gauntlet, you'll be fine.
Do you only like new and shiny things, Kobe? What about vintage, you know?
I never shop at vintage stores. I definitely like the new and shiny. Novelty is premium. And honestly, I want to see how mid lane is actually going because Jensen got the early shove on the wave for the first couple of waves here for Insanity, but Insanity should still be able to pick everything up. Yep. Still keeping himself quite nice and should end up with more CS in the end after he clears the rest of that wave. Meanwhile, junglers again, both of them starting on red quadrants, will be opposite side clears. Bugi will path down towards bottom side, and he will not get seen by this little ward that Jensen has, trying to see this gank. If Bugi continues his clear down towards his blue buff and wraps all the way around to just do the normal full clear Sejuani, this ward only sees if Bugi was going to wrap around for an early level 3 gank. But Bugi pops, never mind, he pops the Scryer's plant, boom. Everybody knows where you are now.
Bit of a double-edged sword there. Bugi says, okay, there's a ward, can't gank through there. Dignitas says, okay, there's Bugi, but not going mid, going to protect this crashing wave on the bot side.
Knocks up 2, and Bugi's waiting and try, but Poome and Tomo, considering the recent intel, are making sure not to push up too aggressively and prioritizing clearing out this wave. Now Bugi moving through the enemy jungle towards mid. You can see some pings coming out on that mid lane as Jensen moves up to try to clear out this wave.
Yeah, Insanity cancels his recall though, with Bugi hovering around, potentially looking for Jensen to get over aggressive, who have been perma-shoving as aggressively as he could.
Bugi and Chime nearby, but Jensen simply stunned up under the turret. A decent amount of time spent here across mid to try and get that advantage, but no angle to be taken.
And Insanity should have Lost Chapter, probably running Futures Market along with his first strike here. Started with the Mana Crystal, so probably should be able to get a very early Lost Chapter for himself. Has teleport to get back. Bugi did spend a lot of time running between mid and bottom, so Bugi is falling a little bit behind on his clear. But he can finish it up now, go grab his blue and Gromp after securing that safety.
You see Insanity trying to rush to that with the Mana Crystal start. Will make the lane phase a lot easier because even though Xerath has that mana restoring passive, against Xerath you're realistically, or against Azir, excuse me, you're not able to usually get that auto attack off to get the bonus mana regen from it. So you're stuck hitting creeps, which doesn't refund nearly as much mana. And with this start, you can of course get Lost Chapter on an earlier power spike. So you do want to force the reset, hopefully before Azir can match on the Lost Chapter, but they are stuck in lane a little bit.
See that mana pool on Insanity being carefully tended to, and Tomo and Poome continually pushing up down here bot. They reach level 4 ahead of their lane opponents and have been shoving that wave up. The dragon just now spawning with wards favored by the TSM side. But I am excited to see what Insanity is able to do on this pick. First time played in the LCS since 2019.
Yeah, now is where we start to see it fully take off. So Last Chapter acquired, and At level 5, you get your 3 ranks in your Qs, starting to do a lot more damage, helping out a lot more out with the wave clear / harass onto the Azir, because you're always looking to try and get these Qs and these combos through to hit the Azir as well. Notoriously low sustain on that champion. Jensen has 2 potions and 2 biscuits still for himself to try and help sustain through it, but Insanity even went as greedy as to get the refillable for himself along with his own Dark Seal. The other thing, of course, about the Xerath is with the ultimate and having the extra shot now added to it, you are both rewarded for hitting earlier shots, increasing the damage of successive shots, but you can really make these plays where you hover just to one side and you can make a bottom side play. You know, your jungler is doing some sort of work down there, trying to play off the setup from something like a Sett, and then the Xerath ultimates can come in and finish the job for you or be the thing that does turn the tides. What you have to watch out for, of course, post level 6 is the Azir sweeps, and you have to be very safe with your positioning and your flash. That's where the range comes in, Mark.
And of course, if you can't land those skill shots, it becomes much harder to actually get the shove. You do outrange the Azir, but if you are sending your skill shots at him and he's not grouped up the wave, hold on here.
He's making the play. Chime gets rooted, knocked up, double time by Poome. So Bugi cannot follow up. Good battle dance back, and now level 5 for Tomo and Poome to continue this pressure.
And even though we don't see the actual play there, and they make the call, hey, Dig are going to escape from this bottom side gank, no problem. Here we go, counterplay.
Poome wants to continue following up on this. Ignite Roan and Chime haymaker out to try and answer Jensen on the pursuit. But that's first blood. Jensen gets the kill credit, and Dignitas with a good start.
Yeah, really good heads up play there from Poome. They chase down Chime, don't let him escape. And it turns into a Dignitas play. It was TSM trying to make the snap play on bottom side. You saw Insanity, if you're looking at the minimap, start to hover down there, by the way. But they're unable to make the play and then turn around immediately with the Ignite on him. They chase him down. They get their first blood bonus. And guess what? It went onto Jensen Azir.
Feels great for him. Bugi a little bit not in range for the play to throw his ultimate there to combo with the Sett. And Jensen getting first move. This is, you talk about the last time Xerath was played in 2019. I'm almost positive that was Bjergsen game where he played it as a counter pick into the Azir. And a similar thing happened where not enough skill shots seemed to be able to land, didn't get enough of an advantage in lane phase, and didn't have a huge impact in the game. I'm worried that that's the same case here, second time around for Insanity. Has not yet gotten any shove in the wave, hasn't gotten a ton of poke, and down CS now.
And that's why I point out the mini-map from the last time around, as we see Bugi now making a look towards top side with Rift Heralds up. Santorin's going to start it. But if you saw in the mini-map, while Jensen was pushing mid lane, Insanity half walked down when TSM tried to make their bottom side play. So then he had to deal with the push, which was a ramification of their attempted play. Now we're going to see the Rift Herald though.
Bridge rotating towards Santorin. 2 members of Dignitas in Pixel, and Poome goes for the knockup. There's the first ult from Insanity, trying to land as much as he can, and Rich did take a lot of damage, but Santorin is the first to fall. WildTurtle, Killer Instinct into the back line, manages to flash for flash, so Rich keeps his life, but loses one of his summoners.
Who wants the Herald
and
Eyeball?
the Herald Eye's just still big chillin'. Poome walking over to pick it up.
Absolutely huge by Poome there to make sure that it's just not a total net loss play for Dignitas. Sneaks into River, grabs the eye from what would have been a horrible play for them. The fact that Insanity was set up in such a good position to snipe down the members of Dig, who get sandwiched between Chime and then Bugi and Hauntzer. And you can just see him pelting over the top over and over again. Yeah, it almost dies as well.
It was actually beautiful how Hauntzer moves them together as well for the double hit on the ultimate on the second shot there too. Artillery Mage in action. They got the kill. They pushed him off the Herald, but Secret Agent Poome slipped back in and recovered the eyeball.
The heist.
Right.
All right, he's on the heist team.
Yeah, where was he, man?
Regroup on that one. I think it's good to see Insanity able to get a decent amount of damage down with that first ult and see if Bugi can collapse upon this play. Rich, a lot of CC to him, tries to escape, cannot do so, did use that flash in that previous fight, so is taken down on top side.
Taken down, did not have his mythic completed as well, which is the huge power spike for Gwen, as well as the fact Needlework was down. That is the danger of ganking a Gwen with her ult up. She starts sustaining through, she turns on, has her Riftmaker passive now, and suddenly it becomes very, very difficult to finish her off. They had a great timing window to pull that gank off. Bugi, yet again, finding angles into this game. One at the Rift Herald, now one again topside.
Yeah, maybe it's too much of repeating ourselves, but general sentiment, Bugi good.
Get eyes on Bugi. Where is he?
Honestly, though, never mind. Bottom side again.
Well, Chime venturing forward. Tomo and Poome walking out of it because Bugi's coming to play. There is the downtown right of the arcane. Tomo has to ult, but he can't keep his life as a result. And TSM are the ones racking up the kill score in their favor. 1,000 gold lead now just achieved.
And there, you see the aftermath of the story, but it's the half roam. You only have to roam to right here for Insanity to be able to add that damage with the Xerath ultimate to those bot ganks. They drew up the play, they executed on the play. They're getting their resets off before Dragon, though. It's a little too greedy with how tanky those mountain dragons are. Insanity, he gets caught by those.
Right there at the end, attempted to stun up Santorin, but does buy enough time so that he can retreat.
Nice play there by TSM, both the Xerath E and Bugi's ultimate, making sure that Santorin could not get in range for a W, keeping Insanity's flash there critically. Even if you don't get that kill against the Xerath, you want to make plays to force the flashes out of him so that the next one, it becomes much easier to actually pull off.
And now you get to see the pain. That is Azir playing against the Xerath. When the Q comes back and hits here, Luden's proc Q onto Jensen, constantly getting chunked out here. Now you get to see the range discrepancies. A lot of effort being put in by TSM to keep some vision around that Xerath. As you said, critical that he was able to hold onto his flash. That is such a big, big piece of safety for this team. And allowing now Bugi and Chime trying to do some work here on these wards behind Dragon, but a little bit dangerous with Santorin and Poome staring them in the face. So they don't want to overstay, and they're just going to lease the Dragon out of the pit.
The jungle and support duos continually working in tandem, their movement through the jungle, but it's TSM that are focusing on to the Dragon, and the Rift Herald spawned across mid. At first, some lack of agency when it's your support that picks it up, but when your support can roam towards mid, he can drop it right on down, gets some turret plates for Dignitas to try and make sure this gold lead doesn't balloon. Yeah,
nice to get some gold into Jensen's pocket there. No reason to contest that Dragon right there. First one of the game. Rich did have TP, but does not have his mythic still, so you do not really want to be joining in on these fights. So instead, get some gold funneled to Jensen. Hopefully they can grab that last little bit of the second turret plate there. They only got the one so far, but equalizes the gold against Insanity. And I do want to give a shout out to Chime. He's had some really good engages. That first one did get turned around on him, but he, in the Rift Herald fight and then in the pickoff that happened in bot side, a better job setting up these plays because he is the first one to go in, force out the cooldowns defensively from someone like Tomo or Jensen, and then it becomes much easier for Insanity to land the skill shots knowing that they no longer have mobility spells and whatnot to get out of the range of them.
Yep, big part of the entire idea for this TSM frontline. Being so beefy, having so much CC, trying to set up those carries just to look good. Because we want Xerath to have success here so that more teams start to pick more off-meta champions and we can get some more diverse champion pools.
See, Kobe, you like the new and shiny. I like old and classic Azir, Orianna, Cassio, Ryze. Give them to me.
You want Corky, Mark?
No. Bridge too far.
Okay.
Gosh, when you mentioned the quirky package noise when we were talking about it in the pods earlier, I just thought, no, don't manifest that back. We don't need it. Poome don't need this action from Chime, though. Bugi comes over the wall, but doesn't have to step up any further than that. Tomo did get some time to push that bot wave.
Yeah, honestly, I wonder if we'll start to see some difference here as far as the Gwen as well, because this has also turned out, even with the counter pick, so well for TSM, with Hauntzer having a big impact in the Rift Herald fight, as well as receiving the gank from Bugi and getting that early kill. Like we mentioned, he got the early magic resist just as a piece, and then still is able to get his Iceborne done. So the front line also going to be very healthy for TSM. They've got Dragon number 1, 2 minutes 45 seconds left to set up for the second one, and there's nothing pushing Insanity out of the mid lane, and he's not exposing himself to ganks or to these flash plays. So I think they should be able to keep it under control.
Bit touch and go on the bot side here. Chime has his flash up, and it feels like every time that's available, he is looking for angles to force onto Dignitas' bot lane. You can see him poking ahead, trying to use this brush advantage to find the flash angle double stun with Bugi nearby. Both mid laners keep trying to hover around bot side, knowing this play can happen at any moment.
Yeah, Jensen's heading first here on the Azir, but Insanity can answer from a longer range So it looks like Bugi gives some priority here over to Dig because of Jensen's early move into the river. Just slips right back. And it's the standoff.
It's the standoff, and it's crazy because Rift Herald's up. It's been up for a couple minutes now, I believe, and both teams have so much pressure around the bot side as we see the potential sweep here.
Jensen.
Oh! Turn away! Camera, go somewhere else!
Where's the emo game insanity?
Oh, yeah, honestly, that would have been a perfect moment.
Yeah.
Take notes would be a good choice there, something like that. Any of the tilting ones. Now you've got no Maokai ult and no Azir ult, though, and they're starting it up.
Yeah, this is a surprising force here. Down summoner, or ultimate, excuse me.
Also down support roams. Chime is here. That is a TSM Herald right there. You better be careful messing with that one.
Yeah, Chime with everything up. All he has to do is run at them to make sure that Jensen can't make his way over.
Oh, they're going for the dive, though.
Back off. There's a Feather Storm from Tomo. Should be able to blade call back. Turtle! Managed to sidestep it! Turtle! Double kill! WildTurtle ain't flipping this one. He's got the play in the bot side.
Damn, Jason still has it, baby! He was there with TSM at the beginning. He's still making it happen. 2v1 outplay on the bottom side. Look at the killer instinct for the first dodge and then the flash.
Absolutely huge here. They want to go from max range. The cleanse ult out of the knockup, meaning he still has his flash available for when Tomo goes for the ultimate here. Or excuse me, the E pullback. So he's able to avoid getting rooted up. Poome took the turret too long. Tomo drops as well. Turtle absolutely broke their ankles on that play. Bugi is just watching. He was on the top side of the map. The entire team rotated up to respect that potential Rift Herald take by Dignitas there. And that means Turtle's exposed on the bot side, but he makes it work by himself in the 2v1.
On his back, he holds the earth, honestly.
WildTurtle finding the time to shine, which you love to see if you are a long-term fan of the LCS. I know that on Hotline League, there was a caller that came in and said he was often in the shadow of Doublelift and Sneaky in his early days, so it's great to see him be able to have that flash-forward mentality, that aggro look that we've known him to have for so many years, and now with TSM on their last life.
And the best part always about these 2v1 outplays or these outnumber tower dives where you're able to make yourself the star is that your team also gets things on the other side of the map because your opponents have overloaded resources to you. That Herald went over to TSM in addition to Turtle getting those extra kills, and now they want more. Bugi with a rare miss.
Did force the flash out of Jensen though. Chime had the pullback but didn't have a stun target, I believe, so Jensen could flash out right away, but still a big win for them here as they posture around this dragon.
Yeah, dragon is still up, just as you mentioned, and Dignitas, they don't look ready to let it go completely. TSM keeping control of the river. They have Scuttle, they have some controls down, and Teleport coming in as well. Multiple Chime up, and now the Nature's Grasp drawn down. Root into the back line. Insanity takes a decent amount of damage, but look, Tomo is also pushing Chime out of it. Santorin into the back of the pit. Rich going deep to try and find Hauntzer, but Insanity takes down Santorin, and all the while, it's the jungler lost for Dignitas, which means that TSM feel free to disengage.
Yeah, TSM, that was beautiful. They're kind of wiping the map with them right now. Hauntzer with the ultimate, sectioning them out, and then Bugi's able to escape, walking away from the Dragon Pit. They assassinate the enemy jungler. They can go back to get their purchases off before returning for objective as well. And let's see, Insanity still has some Xerath ultimate charges here ready to go.
The arcane rains from above, and Jensen doing his best to sidestep most.
What is this champion? I'm pretty sure is what that emote means. And Insanity says, pretty cool, huh?
He was also dodging enough of the ultimates there, not to sustain too much damage. It's still gonna give them an objective.
Yeah, it's just one W, and once that lands and the slow is in there, Insanity decides it's time to open up on him and gets the chunk out, gets this dragon for free. That last fight was not the worst angle by Dignitas. They had multiple members of TSM down to around 10-20% HP. They just couldn't finish any of them off, and that felt like one of the last good angles that Dig might get for a little while now, because it does feel like neutral map play right now is heavily in TSM's favor. They have this annoying Azir who's just poking away constantly, and they still have not been able to force his flash out.
And TSM They managed to get the Feather Storm out of Tomo, traded for the Glacial Prison off of Bugi, but it's them controlling this spacing. They had gotten that mid turret previously with that Rift Herald, which gives them that agency to move forward and push Dignitas out of their lanes.
Copium for Dignitas side right here is Rich is able to grab this turret. He's going to keep scaling up. The scaling on Gwen very strong as you move into your Nashor's Tooth. You begin getting a lot more 1v1 potential in side lanes, as well as assassination threat in team fights. That last attempt, it was just Poome and Santorin jumped on top of Insanity. If they had a little bit of backup from any of the actual carry members, they could have found that kill. The Xerath will always be very squishy, and if you can blow them up at the start of a fight, hey, maybe that's your way back into the game. So they still have the ability to blow up most members of TSM, but need to be in the right position to do it, and that can be very hard against poke champions.
Yeah, plus the W from the Gwen. One of the only tools you can use against Xerath.
Gwen is immune.
Diving down, Gwen is indeed immune. But definitely gonna have to dig themselves out of a hole here. TSM, there's not much that is gonna make them divert from their game plan. Top side, they can just focus down, push out this top turret, get a little bit more standing gold there while having vision control over Baron, but they go for Insanity. He doesn't flash it.
Insanity now flashing away, but gets rooted and knocked back by Santorin. WildTurtle coming in with the killer instinct and going for blood. Picks up the kill onto Jensen, but Dignitas wanting to dish something back. They take down 2, punish him on the entry, and now back off the rest of the fight.
Yeah, they got the shutdown on Turtle, as well as the kill and flash out of Insanity here. Well worth the life of their Azir. Tomo doing a lot of work following up there. Santorin really wanted it.
22 minutes into the game, and Hauntzer stepping up to Dignitas, who have started up on this Baron, looking at Chime alongside Bugi up top, but they can't commit, so Dignitas backing off.
Dignitas not looking as aggressive as they potentially could have there. There was still plenty of length on the respawn timers. It would have been a 4v3 contest. I think they're happy just to finally have found an angle onto Insanity. Nice flash out to potentially stop the Azir sweep from coming in, but too much CC there. This was a huge stun by Chime, grabbing Tomo and forcing the flash and cleanse out of him, making sure they could not chase down to the right side of the fight, because the danger there is if Chime doesn't land that stun, Tomo just cleans up everyone, and then the Baron is definitely gone. Very close to being a game-ending fight there for the side of Dignitas if they could have just won that a little cleaner.
All right, now Jensen has flash advantage. This Xerath, no flash for the first time in the game, will be vulnerable. Maokai ultimate comes back off of cooldown. And even though Poome had to use a lot to get that engaged, once you've got your ultimate back, you can still hex flash for some of these angles and have some super, super snap engages.
All right, so now WildTurtle alone in mid, knocked up and flashes out. In the end, Chime gets rooted on the entry. The Arcane raining from above once again takes out Jensen, and TSM still standing strong with 3. They lose WildTurtle, but this time around, they come out with more kills into their pocket, 2 at that, and push Dignitas back.
Interesting, because they keep killing the AD carries, so there's not real DPS for the Baron. They're kind of over by that area, but with just the Xerath area, yeah, you can't really go on over there, so they just clear out a couple more of the wards and go for a little bit of a reach there with the Kai'Sa.
Should be a disengage after that, and it looked initially like a great play out of Dig, getting that sweep onto Turtle, but it felt like the focus might have got split between finishing the turret or killing Turtle, because he lived for a surprising length of time, which then forced Rich into chasing him down, as opposed to helping focus the tanks, which were jumping on top of Tomo. Another fight there, which was close to going better in Dignitas' favor, but because they were not able to cleanly kill Turtle, it gave time for Azir to land all these shots from range, and they were able to win that one actually on the side of TSM 2-for-1.
Yeah, Hauntzer doing a lot of work here. He did a lot of work on the Rumble. He's been doing really well on this Kai'Sa as well. With the Xerath so far away, a lot of that burden of providing some of the damage and the counter threats as Turtle got dove was on him. TSM right back to it though. They push down on mid first and then move into the river for the spawn of Dragon. See how much poke damage they can get down for themselves first. Looks like ultimates are just about to come back off of cooldown for them.
No flash on either carry of TSM. They'll have to do a very good job of making sure there's no flanks coming in and no angle for Santorin's ult to land on anyone.
The Xerath ultimate coming up just now, so There's the poke coming through, tries to zone off Dignitas while TSM focuses down onto the dragon. Poome has found a lot of good angles for Dig, but too far from the rest of the team to be able to collapse. It is TSM that will pick up yet another dragon in this game, putting themselves on soul points.
Yep, easy execution there for them. They have Chime just go find Poome and mark the Rakan. If you see that Rakan flank coming with the Sett, you're perfectly countered there. Then they have Insanity pop ultimate and just use your charges on the Xayah. Either you're going to chunk the Xayah down so it's vulnerable to a dive, or you're going to get ultimate or some sort of summer spell out of that Xayah. With the amount of Xerath ultis that you can throw at those AD carry champions now, that's a worthy investment before the fight even starts. And so with those two things under control for TSM, they then can just pick up the dragon without Dignitas even coming for that fight.
Yeah, nice positioning by Insanity there. Also, forced Rich's W out. Have to do a better job of Rich finding an angle into these fights that's not just charging through the front, because there's so many tools for them to survive through that. On soul point now means the next time the dragon spawns, TSM can go for the same setup approach. All the flashes will be back available as well, so it'll be even harder for Dignitas to potentially contest that objective.
Just under 3,000 gold for TSM, but as we noted, soul point for them. And it feels like they've been the ones making the aggressive plays against Dignitas, who are attempting to clear out on Baron. We've had a couple of scraps up here, but never any commitment to be able to follow up. Dig had one slight opening, but we're wary of pushing that aggressive play.
Massive, massive magic penetration build here for the Xerath, for Insanity. With his Shadow Flame Sork Boots, as well as the percentage magic penetration of his Void Staff completed, this Xerath will just dump out damage and constantly being fed the blue buffs here. He's almost to his level 16 as well. Once you get your final rank for the ultimate, you just can just start spamming that off on backline members. Doesn't matter. You see Azir, boom, spam it on him, chunk him out. He has no sustain. You see the Xayah, doesn't matter. Spam it out, chunk him down. Either you get an ultimate or something out of it, or you take down a Hell's Health.
Definitely feels like the ball is in Insanity's hands. If he lands enough poke, Dig have a hard time contesting.
Again, with the start of this, teleport coming in for Dignitas. Bugi ends up flashing away, still rooted, and escapes for the time being, but the flash follow-up. Santorin looking to knock him into the rest of the team. Rich gets the kill. And Dignitas, now with no enemy jungler here to contest, are on the Baron.
Huge pick for Dignitas. Bugi messing around too much in the river.
Riot of the Arcane already used to get a good chunk onto Tomo, who uses the Feather Storm to escape the rest of the damage, but Poome, sandwiched between Hauntzer and WildTurtle, who ends up Killer Instinct into the back line, does pick up the kill onto Tomo, but answered as Jensen ventures forward. Chime now on the retreat with the knuckle down, and Hauntzer will have to escape with the flash over the back of the pit wall. It is Dignitas holding the Red Bull Baron buff.
Huge for Dignitas. When you're outranged, you always have to immediately take these opportunities that are presented to you. And they know. Bugi's here in the river messing around. They jump onto him. Santorin locks him down. Even when he flashes over the wall, the Maokai ultimate that was already going roots him for the follow-up.
Just more people nearby for the side of Dignitas. Tomo being there, able to pump out this damage onto Bugi. And like you said, flashes away, gets hit again by the second root. Takes that and buys time for Santorin to get in range for a flash W. They blow him up during this time as well. Rich is able to kind of force Insanity back, gets a poke onto him. And because there's no smite, and because the team is actually very high damage, it doesn't matter that Tomo's not hitting it. Gwen brings so much damage to this. Jensen brings so much damage to this. Tomo can actually just get jumped on and killed by the side of TSM, and it's still a winning play for the side of Dignitas.
Turtle does go for the 1-for-1 and Killer Instincts in to try and get one of them down, but everybody has to scramble at that point, running for their lives.
So even though TSM had dragon control, they had built somewhat of a gold lead for themselves. It's not like they had major control over the map itself, only 2 turrets for both of these teams. So now Dignitas, with this Baron buff in tow, they have an opportunity to swing back something that was really faltering under the pressure of Insanity, who offers another Rite of the Arcane, continually targeting Tomo, the squishiest member. Look how much damage he takes to come down to 200 HP, but it ain't enough.
Don't forget the extra shot they added to that R button. Okay, so last time around, you saw it get the ultimate out of Tomo. This time around, it's most of his HP, but just gonna go back to base and fill that back up since he's got plenty of time before Dragon. Baron buff Gonna help Dignitas try and push through mid lane first. Should be able to do it while we see the K'Sante split pushing on bottom side for TSM.
Yeah, really. Oh, we're gonna see an engage here out of Santorin.
Santorin locks one. Insanity flashes over the wall, teleports from both sides, but Chime goes into the stasis. Bugi is targeted by Rich, but unstoppable into the backline. Chime has used a showstopper, and Rich trying to get back into the fight, but Hauntzer has targeted him. Xerath picking up the kill onto Rich. 3 fallen for TSM, 2 for Dignitas. Still holding on to the Baron buff. They can go towards the Dragon to try and break through the stacking of TSM and deny the soul.
Another close fight and another time where Bugi ends up dropping, so there's no way for TSM to contest this neutral objective. It breaks the Dragon stacking on the side of TSM. Let's take a listen to how it sounds from Dignitas.
Give me a ward, give me a ward. Give me a ward, give me a ward.
Yeah, warded.
Okay.
Look Xerath.
We don't have to kill him now. Kill front. Kill Sett first.
Yeah, look at it. That's it. Okay.
Look AD.
Yeah. Okay, stand in the ulti now.
There's no flash.
Kai'Sa flash.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
Just get dragon. There's no flash. Okay, that's good.
Kai'Sa flash.
Man, you can hear how tense it is. All of them calling out critical abilities. Give me a ward so I can teleport. What targets they should focus down. Dignitas doing a good job figuring out the puzzle of how to beat TSM's comp.
I mean, it was such a good angle for them to be able to have the Rich flank coming from mid while the Maokai ult comes from their own side of the map to force the pincer movement onto those 3 members of TSM. They knew, they're like, just get me a ward, let me get there, because they have such a good setup to the fight that they were going to be able to get some sort of advantage for themselves. And again, now the Xerath has no flash as well for this time around.
The good thing for TSM here is that took the entire Baron buff to break that Dragon stacking. If I'm going to be a little critical of Dignitas, they spent so much time setting up for that Dragon. They were there a minute early. That gives Xerath time to just poke you out of that situation. That's exactly what happened. Tomo got hit low, Jensen got hit low. They both had to teleport back into these fights. I think you actually want to avoid grouping early for the neutral objectives, so that way they can't do this and just keep poking you down.
Tomo's getting pretty good at dodging these ultis, though. Only one of them tagging him this time around. All right, Xerath not so hot anymore.
It's still not a fun minigame to play. Yes, you can win that minigame, but I think what you would prefer to do is actually split Rich a little bit more and break up this TSM comp quite a bit, so that way you have less time playing that game.
Another initiation by Santorin, locks onto 2 and into the backline. Poome goes, Insanity being the target, but it's Rich to fall at the hand of Chime. And now Dignitas, they know that Bugi's low, and same can be said for others, but they can't follow up.
And you got to give a shout out to the front line creating that space for TSM. Bugi, when they saw the Maokai ult, he Q charges into the Maokai ult to soak 1 lane of it to allow his carries to create extra space from the divers of Dignitas and allowing them to win that fight. Because then when the Rich flank comes through, the Gwen has no follow-up. The Rakan, even though Poome's able to cover a bunch of distance and finally engage, guess what? There's no follow-up damage for you because you're so far away from your DPS dealers, your damage dealers. To take a look at what I'm talking about here, where Bugi turns, he goes in to soak 1 line. Hauntzer does the same thing on the K'Sante, and then the Gwen and the Rakan are isolated. Same story for Bugi, but he's much tankier on the Sejuani, has his ultimate, or has the healing active as well, and is able to flash spike out.
Oh, Chime loses his flash coming out of that replay from Jensen, but very good job peeling, make sure no one could get on top of the Xerath. And I also have to give a shout out to Turtle and Chime, 1v2ing Rich, staying inside of that miss by Gwen, and having that wit's end completed to make sure that you don't just get instantly annihilated from how much damage this Gwen is doing. It's just gonna get harder and harder as she sticks more items into her inventory. Only at 3 right now.
WildTurtle, killer instincts towards Tomo, also setting up for that right of the arcane. Tomo not dodging the first, but dodging the last. Then the attention spent onto Jensen. Bugi knocked up in the backline by Poome, but Chime is looking for someone to target, still has a showstopper available, and that's Baron going down for Dignitas to claim. Chime locking on 1 with a showstopper, but will give his life as a result as soon as Tomo comes in stasis. See if he can finish off multiple members of TSM. WildTurtle locking on to Jensen, who goes into stasis and ends up punishing him for his crimes. Dignitas coming out with the Baron and 2 eliminated on TSM side.
Nerves of steel for Dignitas. They know they don't have a lot of time to work with, so they force on the Baron. They Maokai ult. They keep Bugi outside the Baron pit. They both get that and then are still able to outplay the fight on the other side, even with the Kai'Sa trying to blow the ultimate from Tomo into some ultimates from the Xerath. Now we're back into more action here. Hauntzer
teleport in for Dignitas. Hauntzer isolated and TSM getting knocked down. You ain't got no damage with no WildTurtle or Insanity. So Dignitas see the angle to open things up. They take out the inhibitor and they are looking towards the Nexus. Still 45 seconds before Insanity spawns, and Dignitas committing to the play. Hauntzer putting his body in front of the rest of the team, and Poome making sure to shield up as well. Dignitas Santorin taking some damage, but still locking on Nature's Grasp. Will be able to grab some, and Tomo kills him off. Dignitas, it's the last LCS of TSM in 2023. Dig take the win.
Dignitas with the upset, the number 7 seed taking down TSM after a gutsy Baron call. Like you said, they just kept pushing afterwards all the way through the top side. And the man on your screen, Jensen, Rich, Santorin, the top side of the map coming up huge to make sure they could make it through this tough 5-game series.
Man, so many critical dodges there. And Dignitas, they know they don't want to wait around and get poked out. They can't give extra time for more damage to get soaked. So they keep making these decisions. They keep forcing these plays. And then they instantly end the game off of that Baron buff.
Crazy stuff out of Dignitas. The Jensen to Worlds dream is alive.
It's alive!
And moving on to the next round of playoffs, waiting to see who they'll be taking on there, but it's got to feel good having such a hard-fought series. So many interesting draft picks coming through.
And speaking of those interesting draft picks, you got to give it for TSM for being able to hold it down in 5 games. And we saw some strength of the Xerath in that mid lane, the poke he was able to offer for Insanity. But Dignitas ensuring they had the chance to punish, keeping their minds focused to have the game-ending play.
Man, so many things to look back at in so many of these games, not just this game. Because, yeah, you're going to be like, oh, man, that one where Bugi got caught in the river right before the other Baron, and then, you know, the start to the previous team fight. But there's so many moments like that throughout the entire series, too, leading up to it. It's such a domino effect. Here's Dig's final push. Once they got the Baron and once they had the kills onto the TSM carries, they're like, you know what? We are not waiting around to get any more poke in our faces. We are ending this game now.
They were relentless. Tomo there with the blood steal, life stealer, she's able to heal up, get back up to full, so the poke not quite as annoying. That came through from Insanity. And then just so much damage. TSM holding on as best they can under the base, but couldn't actually finish anyone off. You saw Turtle try and get Santorin there, not able to do it. Chime getting low, not able to get Tomo down. Just one by one, TSM drops, and then the Nexus.
Both Dignitas and TSM coming into playoffs with such chips on their shoulders. TSM doubted in the power rankings going into the split, and then Dignitas really wanting to prove themselves after a bottoming finish last time around, but keeping it alive here in playoffs. You love to see it. And for now, we are joining Emily, Santorin, and Jensen for our Verizon postgame interview.
Hello, I am here with Santorin and Jensen after, I'd say, a grueling best of 5. You guys both have a lot of experience in best of 5. So how would you rank the exhaustion from this one compared to some of your historic ones?
I mean, honestly, not as stressful as some of the other ones, because
Okay.
I honestly felt like we were just making way too many mistakes. It didn't feel like TSM was the reason why we were losing. It's ourselves. So compared to like some of the stressful ones where you get kind of getting destroyed and you're kind of like, oh, what do we do? I just felt like we just had to, you know, control ourselves. So it didn't feel as stressful to me.
Okay. Would you agree, or?
Yeah, I mean, I felt fine. I think I felt more exhausted in the previous games than the last one. I don't know why, but I felt like more awake for the last one. Maybe I was like, I realized, okay, this is the one that really means everything. So maybe I just, I don't know, woke up.
We'll go back to game 4 for a minute, I think, because that was really brutal. And I did want to ask you guys, like, how did you recover from that loss? Because there were multiple breakpoints in that game where it did look like you were going to win.
I can go first. I mean, I felt like we had the game in control, and it's more so just us overextending or making big misplays than them like playing better than us. So I think, you know, we realized we just need to work on the problems we have in the game and come into game 5 and hopefully play better.
Would you say you did? Yeah.
I'm not sure. I feel like game 4 we should have won, but I think TSM should have won game 5. So, I mean,
But at the same time, I think Game 5 was a really hard draft for us to play. So given the coach gap, I think we did well.
Wow. I was going to say, you had to go up against the Xerath, which is something that I feel like a lot of people know is a really good counter to Azir, but not something we see a lot in pro play due to lack of mobility and a lot of other things that mids kind of cite as to why you wouldn't pick it in certain comps. How difficult was it going up against that counter pick?
I think it was mainly difficult because we don't really have any tanky champions. So as soon as someone gets hit by anything from Xerath, have to go back home. And I should have just spanned it. It's my bad.
So is it mid gap or is it coach gap?
Both.
Okay.
It's not entirely my fault. It's their fault too.
Well, you did receive Player of the Series for the series. So first of all, just congratulations.
Thank you.
Second of all, I know it's not a joke, but it also has become a big meme of how like you never miss Worlds. Jat was talking about how he ran into you in the hallway and being like, yeah, he's dialed in, he's like focused, he's ready to go. Just how much does winning the series mean to you guys, or is it just kind of like, okay, first hurdle over, you know, on to the next one?
I mean, to be honest, I thought today was going to be a lot easier than it was. So I was more thinking about like who we're going to face next. I mean, of course, I didn't like fully disrespect them by any means, but I just went into the series thinking like, there's no way we lose to these guys. But standing here now, I feel I'm happy that we were able to win because they put up a good fight.
And for you, Santorin?
Yeah, I mean, if we're going to win the split, there's another 4 best of 5s, I believe. So yeah, there's just a small hurdle we came over. There's so much more to go. And I mean, I think as long as we focus on ourselves, we'll do a lot better. Like, I think some of the games, we show how good we can be. And then some of the games, we're kind of like, well, this looks like a scrim, guys. Like, can we please focus up? So, you know, we went into Game 5. It's a night block time. So we usually win night blocks.
Yeah, that's
nice.
the peak.
Okay, so that's it. They just have to go to Game 5.
Yeah.
And you guys will win. You're going to Worlds.
Exactly.
All right, awesome. Well, thank you so much to both of you for joining me. And we'll throw it to the lounge to close it out.
That's pretty unbelievable that they felt like that game, they had less pressure than the games before.
Well, when you after Game 4, I mean, I'm sure you're like,
oh,
all
true.
the adrenaline's done. You're just like, whatever, man. Let's just go get it done.
Quick take on the series?
Yeah, I thought Dig played pretty well. I was impressed by the drafting, and I thought they received a lot of pressure from TSM. And just in classic Dig fashion, the games were just complete chaos at times. Very entertaining. I had a good time watching. So I'm looking forward to see who they play. I mean, if they play Energy or GGS, I think they have a chance.
Exactly. And honestly, let's just go straight to the player of the series. Drum roll, interested to see. 3, 2, boom! Jensen picks up player of the series. No surprise, really. Just as we were going through the series, in between, we were realizing just how good Jensen was playing. 6-0-7 in Game 1, 8-0-3 in Game 3. And that was a tough Game 5, specifically. Yeah. Take on Jensen overall in the series?
Yeah, I mean, he did his role really well. I mean, he just pumping out damage, getting the kills. I think that between him and Insanity, it was really like those two players just going off against each other, and whoever ended up, he just ended up carrying harder. I mean, Insanity had a last great game, but getting caught out on the top side obviously was kind of the death sentence for them.
Yeah, and with how strong Insanity was in the final game, it was really important when he was flashless. Jensen targeted him. I thought that was really clutch. The final fight was Santorin, but overall throughout the series, it felt like they understood how to play around Jensen quite well. All-inning on team fights, hearing in the interview from Santorin how they felt like they were the ones making mistakes and TSM wasn't doing anything special. That game, I almost completely forgot about the Ziggs Tristana game.
But the last game of Azir, I mean, the big thing with like good Azirs versus just whatever is just knowing how to go in and shuffle. And I thought he plays really aggressive, getting in onto Turtle, making sure he has the pressure on him. Really good play.
Fair point. That being said, heard that Jet has an interview here with Insanity and WildTurtle on stage. So take it away, guys.
Thank you very much. And again, WildTurtle Insanity, I really appreciate you taking the time to talk. That was an incredible series going all 5 games. But I also wanted to kind of ask both of you how the year has gone, because there were very low expectations for TSM, and I feel like you exceeded so many of them. So Insanity, I know it's really hard at the moment, but can you maybe reflect a little bit on some of the successes you had this year?
I don't really remember too many of the games, but I know a lot of the Kai'Sa games I played and LeBlanc games even, I don't know, they felt pretty easy to play, and it felt like I was doing pretty well in those. I definitely had some bad moments too, especially after our 5-game win streak. It kind of went haywire, but I don't know. I also had some good moments in this game. I had some, or this series rather, and some bad moments too. But I don't know. I'm just glad I got another opportunity to show my worth.
Yeah, absolutely. The Xerath was a menace to deal with. Jensen was just talking about it on stage in the 5th game, and WildTurtle as well. So many years in the LCS, also being back on TSM. What was the experience like this year, getting to kind of put on the jersey again and win more games in the LCS?
It was definitely a huge roller coaster. Like, we won a lot of games, we lost a lot of games, but even in our series, it kind of showed that we weren't as consistent as we wanted to be. Overall, I think I had like a great year. I had like the Jinx games where I was just like 8-0 every game, and David kept calling me Jinx from Arcane, so that was really nice. WildTurtle from Arcane.
That's amazing, Turtle. And I've just noticed, this could be wrong, but I feel like you two actually have a pretty good relationship. Is there anything you, I don't know, want to share about your time on TSM at the end of the split?
I think it was just good times. Like, we showed up every day to practice. Granted, we had some pretty bad practice weeks, but, you know, we always try to keep the mood a little light and, you know, try to have fun while we're there.
Yeah, and Insanity, you played the Xerath, you played the Lucian earlier, you're playing Graves mid, and also I heard you practice just an insane amount this split. Do you want to talk a little bit about how much work like you put in individually this year for TSM?
I think it wasn't just an individual thing. We pretty much every night double blocked, so it wasn't like I'm the one practicing the most or something like that. I definitely could have played a lot more solo queue even, but I think just every day that we had a chance to scrim double blocks, we would. And I don't know, I don't know. It just sucks.
We're just disappointed from losing.
Yeah, I mean, losing is incredibly hard. Thank you so much for taking the time to answer some questions and talk to the fans. Is there anything else you'd like to share at the end of the series?
Thank you for following our journeys, and we really appreciate you guys watching and following us. Granted, we couldn't go that far, but hopefully we can get a better showing next time.
All right, Insanity Turtle, congratulations again on a very strong year. I know it's very disappointing at the moment, but thank you so much for taking the time. And we're going to send it back to the lounge.
Great interview. Thank you again, Insanity and Turtle, for that one. And with that loss, TSM are eliminated from playoffs contention in what could be their final game in the LCS. So let's take a look at some of their greatest moments in the last 11 years.
First up, it's going to be Team Solo Mid. Probably the best performing North American team from 2012. Can they turn it around? WildTurtle at the back, just hitting one after the other. There's a double kill for him. Laudamonis goes in, that's going to feed him a triple kill. MIA strand, that's going to be a quadra kill. Can he get the pentakill? Front you, 1-on-1, it's going to be the pentakill! Too good for TSM right now.
This is going to be it for TSM. I think we have our champions.
There it is, TSM in Game 5. Looks to be your North American LCS Spring champions. They take down the Nexus and the title.
As far as I know, the only NA team that I'm worried about is Cloud9. The rest are non-existent, especially COG.
That's a quadra kill for Bjergsen. He's looking for the penta. Can he get it? That's the question. Bjergsen leaves one more hit. That's a penta kill.
Turtle on the triple. Turtle on the quadra. Medios on the outside. A second quadra in the playoffs for Turtle. Not the one they want, but it is the one that they want. Santorin with the Jarvan Quattro Cataclysm. The quadra kill once again to come up with Team Solo Mid's pivotal win. Team Solo Mid are the 2015 North American League of Legends Championship Series Spring Split champions.
Right now, my story ends here, but I still, even with me gone, I still want everyone to support TSM and all of my teammates. And I'm really thankful for everything.
Now can they have the follow-up damage? A couple of stuns come in. They've got Bjergsen, and they shut him down with a 1600 damage crit.
Can they get double?
Flow. Medios, another knockup, trades his life, but it's down. Gets the GA. Double killing them all. Kills everybody. They've got 3. Impact goes down, and A's for TSM.
The TSM are going to end it. There's an A's way. Here we go. It's the game. TSM fight tooth and nail to defend the North, but once again, NA LCS champions.
TSM cement themselves as the
the greatest team North America has ever seen. 6 championships and 10 splits. They have never missed a final. They have never missed Worlds, and they are once again your North American champion. A lot of damage on Cloud9, and here comes your janitor, baby. Mop and bucket at the ready. It's WildTurtle cleanup duty. Sinskera's gonna be taken low. Sneaky's gonna be taken down. Zayz'll drop next. Sinkera with the flash away, but WildTurtle is spinning that come all the way around.
Shows it here in the game as the Nexus falls. TSM claim LCS title number 7.
2.5K, Hoonie around the back, the ball center in there, and oh my god, Speaker, he's done it again!
And Team Liquid, they're getting pushed off the fight now as they bought so much time. Insanity steps up and Insanity gets a double kill! He's looking for more! And it's a clean ace!
Some beautiful moments there, but as we look ahead in playoff brackets right now, Dignitas moving on. They will be facing the loser of NRG and Golden Guardians. But tomorrow, yeah, Team Liquid versus 100 Thieves is going to be an interesting series. What series are you interested in here?
Yeah, I really want to see TL versus 100 Thieves because, you know, TL is such a coin flip of a team.
That's true.
That I think it's going to be just as entertaining as today, just based off that.
And we haven't seen 100 Thieves in a little bit. I wonder what prep they've had for us. So, I mean, Dig surprised us with a few strats.
100 Thieves could come back in and be a whole new looking team, you know?
Exactly. So, interested in that one. But that's going to be it for us, guys. Remember, that's going to be tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2 p.m. Pacific for Team Liquid versus 100 Thieves. That's going to be it for us now. Take it easy.
Welcome to the LCS. Dignitas taking to the stage for their first best of 5 of Summer Split, while TSM are operating on their second life after falling to the lower bracket.
Oh nice, they're doing a huddle. We win.
Noobs.
Oh, stunned up a Poome! First blood drawn by Chime. Tomo, lightning crash activated. Poome looking for somebody that he can lock on to. Hauntzer gets rooted in the center of them, and Jensen has come to the party from mid lane. Finishes off Hauntzer. 2 already down for TSM. Santorin rooting on forward, and a double kill for Tomo. Don't need a cleanse to be able to get into this one.
I vault.
Oh, I'm coming. I'm looking. You want go? I can go. It's looking really good.
Yeah, I'm on Dragon.
It's okay, I'm coming.
Good job.
I'm looking.
Slowly. Jerry, just no flash. Look at Jerry. Help Jace. Fight together, guys. Okay, Jerry's back.
Santorin re-entering the fight, but Hauntzer has already taken it down. Jensen, the GA being popped. Santorin has fallen. Double kill for Hauntzer in the top side. A veteran that continues to evolve throughout this game and offer much for TSM to follow up upon. Ace for TSM, and Dignitas keeping their eyes on Bugi, retreating towards the turret. Chime has to flash away, but cannot outrange what Jensen has to offer. Double kill for the mid laner, and following up for more. Hauntzer setting himself into the grave soon enough, seeing if he can bring someone down with him, but that is not the case. At least 15 seconds for some sort of assistance to come to the side. Charm onto Rich, but he dashes on back. Insanity gets the damage down. Poome swag walks it out the best he can with head held high as TSM tie up the series. We're going to game 5. His way over.
Oh, they're going for the dive though.
Back off. There's a feather storm from Tomo. Should be able to blade call back. Turtle! Gets a sidestep it! Double kill! Putting his body in front of the rest of the team, and Poome making sure to shield up as well. Dignitas Santorin taking some damage, but still locking on. Nature's Grasp will be able to grab some, and Tomo kills him off. Dignitas, it's the last you'll see of TSM in 2023. Dig, take the win!
Guys, let's go! Ah! Oh, it's too hard, yeah. Good job, guys. Holy Let's go! GG! Let's go!